Hello, happy Monday, y'all. This is Jon Rognerud coming at you. Another podcast and a broadcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. And hey, congratulations, you're off to a new week, and so am I. And hey, today's title here is going to be about business success. Is it really guaranteed? You know, I talk to a lot of clients, and actually just talking to one right now, a prospect rather, who's basically saying, hey, I will do this with you if you can guarantee results. And, that's where, many consultants and experts get, maybe stopped up a bit in the conversation is like, hey, man, how do I continue that conversation? Because with integrity and authenticity, I'm trying to speak here, you don't want to take that client on, right? You don't want to guarantee anything that you cannot provide. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, and to answer that question ultimately. That before I start, just a quick pitch here. If you would like to learn more about these things and how we do this at the agency, feel free to head on over to chaosmap.com. That's CHAOSMAP.com, and we'll help you run the ads. We'll help you set up the campaigns. We'll get all of this rolling for you. And if that's something you want to do. But either way, glad to come here live to you today to try and help you with these sometimes complex conversations around digital marketing. And of course, we talk a lot about advertising here. We talk about organic. Later this week, I'm actually going to do a series on SEO. I wrote 3 books for Entrepreneur Magazine, Entrepreneur Press rather, on search engines and optimizing the whole whole experience. But today we're going to talk about this notion of, hey, is business success guaranteed? And I'm talking about online here specifically. Pardon me. But either way, this is going to hold true for anything that you're doing out there. So please take a listen here, take some notes on this, because this is probably the most important in terms of starting any new relationship, whether that is you as a consultant out there, or if you're doing this for yourself and trying to get your business going. I just had a great call with a lady inquiring about services and how to do Facebook ads and how to run the business. And this comes up again and again. So I thought this was appropriate to discuss today. Now, as you know, I like to do charts and diagrams and workflows. I think it really helps visualize the conversation and help you take a look at this. Obviously, if you're coming at me here at this from the podcast today, please head on over to YouTube and find this one later when you get back to your desktop or to your device. So here is the answer to your question, or to the question that I'm putting out there. Is it guaranteed? Yes, it is guaranteed, because this here, what I'm explaining, I was going to say describing and explaining at the same time, doesn't work. And this model here actually works. This is true in any case, as I said. So let's dig in. So here, what we're looking at is really 2 sort of major sections: the lead flow and the conversion. Over here on the left, we have organic and paid, meaning traffic that's coming into your site. So whether this is, as I said, organic or paid, or email, or social media, anything that you're doing to drive traffic to your website or to your asset. I mean, you could have a YouTube video here, right? So any and all of this. I'm just denoting that here with these icons on the left-hand side. So here's where it starts flowing, right? Traffic comes in. Hopefully that is now targeted traffic for you. In fact, if it's not targeted, your messaging, your entire funnel, your entire customer experience is going to be off. So you want to make sure that you understand your target audience. And we call this the avatar, right? So who is that person? Who is Susan and Tom, right? So you can really define them down to a very succinct level of detail. Now, that's going to come into that as I said. And if it's a lead magnet, which is very typical, something where there's an offer, an exchange of value, then that's perfect, right? Now, if you're in a local business market, maybe you are a plumber, right? Well, you're not going to necessarily give them a guide that says the 7 things you should know before hiring a plumber, although that is great. That's one of the strategies. You may simply want to show your phone number, right? So different ways in which you present that. But I'm using lead magnets as the general term for presenting that offer or presenting that message for a next step, right? So here's where it gets interesting. Whatever you're spending on that in terms of cost, so for paid media, that'll be a specific cost, but everything has a cost to it. Even though you're doing SEO, there's a cost to that, right? We talk about free traffic. Nothing really is free. There is a cost when you drill right down to it, right? So when you get that traffic into your site and you have that conversion point, we call that a lead into your organization, right? So this one here is specifically in marketing terms named a cost per lead, CPL, or a CPA, cost per acquisition. And right at that moment, if you are tracking your analytics, there's going to be a conversion point that has a dollar amount to it, right? So if you're spending, $100 to drive $1 clicks, that's $100, 100 people coming into your organization or to your lead magnet in that case. What does that actually look like in terms of that cost structure, right? So that's the cost per lead. Maybe it's $10 per lead. Maybe it's 12, maybe it's 20, whatever that number is for you, right? So that's a first step in understanding this math here. And this is what we call a marketing investment here. You're spending money to get that traffic and that attention over to your site, and you are getting your first KPI, your metric in place in terms of that transaction. And I'm using transaction here as a general term, right? And over on the right-hand side here, we see conversion, right? So if you have your lead flow and you have your math set up for the cost per lead or cost per acquisition there, that's the first step, but it's not good enough, right? Because at this point, you actually need to sell it, right? So if you're driving in traffic to a webinar, you're getting great conversions in terms of the cost per lead there, the lead magnet, but you're not selling anything. So that ultimate sales conversion, I should say, is not working for you. Well, then you're flatlined or upside down. Now, there's obviously also a timeline to this, so this is not instant. On the left side, typically, we talk about return on ad spend, ROAS, that's fairly immediate. Over on the right-hand side here, we see a sales process, and this one here will take time. It's not always immediate, although if you're doing e-commerce, we want these two to be tightly coupled and be fairly immediate, both of them, right? But the sales process, depending on what that is for you. So as I said, if a plumber has a phone 800 phone number to call in on, that's their sales process. If you have a webinar and it's a complex funnel, which by the way, I don't recommend, but that's the sales process there. But maybe you have an upsell at the end or an appointment to be positioned, right? So this is a sales process for that. Well, ultimately, all of this here needs to be connected in a process. And you need to have systematized this so it's easy to follow. If you're having new hires come on board, it's easy to train these folks on that process. And to answer the question then of today's broadcast, is business success guaranteed? Well, it is if ultimately you have this, what I put in the box at the bottom here, the cost per lead is less than your average order value. Right? So if your CPL in that earlier example is $10 and your average order value is $20, and again, just picking numbers here for sake of simplicity, well, you're technically, positive in that transaction. And I'm not counting any overhead or any other issues, cost of goods sold and, employee overhead of your staffing or, leases, et cetera, et cetera. Just purely looking at this from a math perspective. If you're running Facebook ads and you're running it through your funnels and through your pages and through your assets, and you have a sales process that's working for you, but it's not compliant with this rule that says cost per lead is less than AOV, average order value, well, your business is not successful. You cannot scale that because these numbers are out of whack. They are not positioned in a place where you can actually scale your business. And that's not to say that, in an initial stage, for example, first 30, 60, 90 days, that these cannot be improved upon, meaning out the gate, you may see these are upside down. And if you're brand new, they very often will be. Now, over time, these will be improved or should be improved through optimization and through scaling techniques as they start to become compliant, right? So you actually will have a successful business when these numbers are working together. And this is where we talk about, sort of the holy grail of advertising. The ability to now say, I put $1 in and I get $2 out, or 3 or 4 or 5, right? 5x out, 10x out. Extremely profitable at that point, a very healthy business because the numbers are working. So if this is something that you want to learn more about, or would like to jump on a quick call to discuss and see how they are working for you in your business, feel free to jump over to chaosmap.com. That's CHAOSMAP.com. And we'll take you through it. But this is a simple model, and it really just extrapolates the 2 components that you need to have in check for your business to be successful. That is obviously the inbound traffic and the lead flow. On the left side here, as we can see, that's your marketing, your investments here, as well as on the right side, your sales process. We actually were working with a local practitioner, professional services business out in Texas recently, and we helped them generate a lot of lead flow here on the left-hand side, but their sales process was in the toilet. And so now we're working with them to improve the sales process to actually make this happen. And we talk about client acquisition at that point, right? So client attraction is on the left side, all the activity that happens there. And on the right side is the sales process and the client acquisition. We actually acquire the customer and onboard that customer, client, or patient, whatever that is for you. But anyway, this is just a brief presentation today, Monday morning here, actually in the afternoon now as we're kicking this off. But listen, if you think this is helpful, feel free to head on over to chaosmap.com, set up an appointment there. It's a big old button up at the right-hand side that you can check out. There's no charge for this. And let us know what you think as well. I love the fact that you're sharing this out in the marketplace and that you're enjoying these. Keep doing this on a daily basis. And any questions that you have, feel free. We'll take care of you. We want to help you with this. But ultimately, that is the summary of how you generate a healthy business with metrics and math. Obviously in marketing and online, we talk about math a lot to make sure these numbers work, because data basically will allow us to improve and to optimize and to scale. But also that there's a psychological component here. The idea that you have a message that you want to share to that target audience. So math and psychology, those two combined, is really the magic. And combine that with the CPL less than AOV in terms of that formula, you got something good. So hey, hope you're doing great today. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll talk to you in the next one. All right, gals and gals, see ya. Bye.